I think you have to make a statement early. Be intentional with how you call the game. Be intentional with the shots you take. Any drop off against a program like this can put you in a bad situation.
I completely understand that. We can't have the drops. We can't have the fumble mix-ups, the snap mix-ups. We can't give that, because you give them an inch, they will capitalize. You know that for a fact. The young Jalen Reed showed his face again. Detroit native, man. Let's get into it.
Yeah, Jay Reed. He gets got every once in a while, but I guarantee you that sumbitch is competitive as hell, and he lines right the fuck back up the next series and gets right after it again. Doesn't lose a step, doesn't lose an ounce of confidence. He flies around like a fucking missile, dude, and he's really fun to watch. To me, it's an intentionality and a belief in what you can do, and not being scared, and just throw empty the fucking tank. Like throw the haymakers, empty the fucking tank. A lot of things from a matchup standpoint are pointing in the right direction for us.
Quarterback sneak right side, touchdown, Penn State!
Whoa! Who knew I would make it this far?
And this segment's brought to you by Family Clothesline. They kept us looking sharp all weekend. I'm currently wearing one of the Lulu Polos. It's a Family Clothesline exclusive. Make sure you guys check out Family Clothesline for all of your Penn State apparel needs.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sports fans from the East Coast to the West Coast, welcome back to another episode of The Pocket. We appreciate you guys as always. Got my guy Bebo here. We're going to chop it up big time. Post-Wisconsin, what the win meant, offense, defense, a little bit of Ohio State preview. Well, probably a lot of bit of Ohio State preview. But before we get to that, let's make sure we pay our bills, man. As always, make sure you guys are always checking out our sponsors of The Pocket and State Media as a whole. We got Family Clothesline, got the dopest gear in town, always reloaded on the freshest stuff. I don't know if you guys saw the Noon Game Sucks t-shirts. They're pretty cool. Go check out what Caroline's got and what she's got cooking down there. Great supporters of us, and we really appreciate it. Ziebart, you guys are going to get another Ziebart defensive play of the week segment now, because we finally got another game to go at. You guys got a little bit of B-Bell, some ancient history last week, so there you go. And then we got Hidden Still, as always. Great program, kicking back a bunch of the profits for their brown water, the blue-white bourbon, which B-Bell's got there back in the back corner, to NIL initiatives. So all of these sponsors are doing great things surrounding our community, so make sure you guys are checking them out. But with that being said, B, what's good, man? How you feeling?
Feeling great. Another college football weekend. A lot went down. We'll get to our boys, but it was a great weekend.
Bro, I'm tired. I am tired. I'm not gonna lie to you. This I feel like we're at that point in the season where it's just the grind. Like the grind has kicked in. I feel like it's like winter workout 8 right now, and there is no light at the end of the tunnel. I'm also going back and forth between school and home every weekend too, which is tough. But
that's a grind.
You're in the thick of it too with your little one, so I really shouldn't be complaining too much. But anything surprise you from this weekend? Results? Anything outside of the conference? I mean, I will say this. I think we're going to dive more into it, but without a doubt that Ohio State-Nebraska game was spectacular. Yeah. Gave me a lot to think about and chew on. Yeah. And then had the boys in Indiana. Whew.
I didn't really realize how they were cooking this whole season. And I'm glad. I mean, they're not on our schedule, but they're gonna continue to shake things up, make some noise. That'll be interesting to see down the line. They're cooking with grease right now.
Yeah, I gotta check this out. Did you have anything else though while I'm doing this? Because I want to check out.
Not really. I mean, I was gonna touch on Indiana. I mean, at this point in time, like you said, it's the grind of college football. It's officially cold, although the weather's a little wacky, but you can count on it being pretty brisky here on out. And then every weekend, I mean, you really can't call it. Vanderbilt's playing tough. That game caught my eye. They still lost, but every weekend is kind of wacky. Things eventually played themselves out, but it was a great weekend altogether. I continue to watch Colorado late night Saturday. I enjoy watching them play, offensively at least. Seeing Shador and those guys sling the rock around, but that's about it for me.
They are cooking a little bit. We got Indiana's got Michigan State, Michigan, and then Ohio State.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see how for real they are here. I think all three of those teams can present some challenges, but that is good, man. Hey, whenever you could have a coach come in and make an impact like that, that's cool as hell. Strengthening the conference top to bottom, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seemed a little more quiet this weekend overall.
Yeah. Not too many big upsets, things of that nature. I mean, thankfully so. And Oregon's still cooking too. Can't forget about that. They're the top dog in the country, but obviously the Big Ten as well. So, I feel like no one's really talking about them for whatever reason. I know I had my skepticism, but they're for real, and they're deservingly so number one right now.
Yeah, they're just quiet out there. That Ohio State game was a really good football game. Really their only test up until this point, in my opinion. Illinois was, I wasn't – as I watched Illinois in person up there with us, good football team, not great.
Yeah.
Schedule kind of works out. Vet QB, kind of everything we talked about, but there's nothing like super dynamic about them. That's what's kind of cool about this Indiana team is they're explosive, and it's like a step up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got like 25 more horsepower than them boys do. But yeah, Oregon's just quiet out there, dude. Dan Lanning is gonna when it comes time to the bigger games, like he's gonna have them prepared. He's gonna be ready to go. So I think they're just kind of bidding their time, but we shall see. Yeah. We shall see. Because Indiana, low key, they beat Michigan State. They beat Michigan. They're both kind of down and hurting, not what they used to be. If you got the momentum, I think you can. I think you can probably sneak those out. Then you got to beat Ohio State, and then you got Purdue to finish. If they go undefeated, man,
there's gonna be some question marks.
It'll be crazy as hell. The whole Big Ten thing's gonna be crazy. If they end up pulling it out,
playoffs, Big Ten itself is gonna be some decisions need to be made. Being that if we handle our business on our end, it'll be very interesting.
Right. All right. So with that banter right there, a little bit of mid-season blues, a little tired. I apologize. I'm gonna pick this up here. I was saving this for these.
Let's go.
But with that being said, we got the Wisconsin game.
Let's talk about it.
I'm gonna let you kick it off. What? Give me the rundown. Give me the synopsis. Give me some lanes to run down because I have some thoughts. Coach Franklin, I think, categorized it really well. Gutsy, great team win, some adversity. But what do you got?
Honestly, it's been kind of the same formula we've seen over the last few weeks. We've talked about it. We're never going to sleep on Wisconsin. I didn't think they slept on Wisconsin, but we just still didn't come out with that initial pounce that I would like to see. We gave up some points, gave up some fluke plays to start the game. I know everyone's on edge already, the first 12, 13 minutes of the game. And similar to USC, I feel like we gave them life that they didn't have. And just chronologically speaking here, got to start there. It's like that's where I want us. That's where we can make the most strides because fast forward to the second half, that story's been told every week. It's amazing. It's great. I love it. Regardless of the, whoever goes down and whatnot, we're fired up coming out halftime. And the same thing, we can kind of get more of that energy in the first quarter. I think we put teams away quicker. The angst and anxiety for us fans kind of goes away a lot quicker. But nonetheless, like you said, Coach Franklin said it, gritty. We're finding ways, man. It doesn't matter. Guys are stepping up, no matter who it is. And shoot, at the end of the day, it's a double-digit victory.
I'm I'm fully on the fact that we're never going to start fast. I'm just, we're not. When you watch our offense, we do so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's part of just what Coach K wants to do. I think he just wants to put a lot out there and see things.
Right.
You know what I mean? See how they align, see how they play a certain formation or how they adjust to a certain motion. And then he just goes from there.
Yeah.
But like we have so much clock with our possessions in the first quarter. And like we got to be one of the worst scoring teams in the first quarter in the country.
Like the Eagles.
But we move the football.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't not move the football. It's not like it's like stagnant. Like, we move the football. It just doesn't translate to points right now. And that's frustrating. It's going to probably have to change once you start playing some of the bigger dogs in the country. But I'm just fully on the train of, you know what, screw it, fuck it. We're a second half team. And, you know, hey, we're going to have to play some really good complimentary football and not get buried by 2 or 3 scores early, period. Yeah. That's just what has to happen.
I mean, even with that, USC, you know, they proved if that does happen, we've shown the capability of digging ourselves. Not that we want that at all, but before that game, we were like, I don't think we can come back down 2 scores. You know what I mean? And but yeah, second half team. And just on that point, like you said, your realization about being a start fast offense, I had a realization throughout the game. We'll get to the second half offensively with Bo and everything and Drew getting hurt. But I came to a realization that I am fully confident that we can win a national championship with Coach K. You know, and I liked everything we had going. You know, the confidence the guys talked about, even from preseason with everything he brought in, just the energy. And, you know, it's like, okay, I like this guy. We sat down, talked to him. I loved everything he was saying. And obviously it's like, okay, we got to see it. And we saw a bunch the first 6 weeks. But this week, with how Bo stepped in, I don't want to transition too early if you don't want to get there yet. But I'm like, okay, not that he's the real deal because I felt that, but I'm fully confident no matter what goes on offensively. Mind you, coming from last year where it was our Achilles heel and we know it was tough to move an inch, I'm like, we can wheel and deal no matter which way we have to do it to get the job done and go to promised land, honestly.
Bro, you said national championship?
I said national championship. To win it, you know. Obviously, defense, special teams, everything has to come together, and we still have to play a lot faster and better, but just offensive scheme-wise, outside of execution, we obviously have to execute, but just straight scheme-wise, schematically, getting guys in the right place, opportunities to win. You know, like I said, coming from last year where it was like, you know, it doesn't matter how good our defense is. Yeah. We can't get anything going on offense. I'm 100% confident.
I would say championship caliber. I'm not going to say national championship, but I'm going to say championship caliber. I agree with you. I think he's proven his worth, and probably more than his worth up until this point in terms of what the product he's put on the field and the results that he's getting and the way he's elevated everyone's play. But the line heading into this Wisconsin game was tight. You know, I think it's becoming like a national narrative or trend for everybody. Like when it's a tight line and it's something with Penn State, like, oh, they're going to slip up, whatever. Right. It gets old, but I was really impressed with the way – we'll just dive into the offensive side of things. Like I was really impressed with the way that they finished this game. Sluggish first half, down at halftime, they did some good things, but it was just like kick it into gear, boys. And like you said, Drew goes down, overcome that adversity. Left tackle goes down, overcome that adversity. And then they pull away in the second half. And the point that I want to really hammer home is because you talked about the USC game, I don't think that we pull away without that USC experience. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I think that we even potentially lose this game in Madison without that USC experience and the way it went in terms of the belief factor of them being able to do it, right? Completely capable from a skill set standpoint, but there's that like tangible experience of doing it, something you could feel, touch, taste, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And without that, you're still living in a world of unknown. You're still swimming in the deep, dark ocean, right? I think they tapped into that a little bit, right? And they end up pulling away and winning by a few scores, right? And that's what I wanted to see. I predicted pregame that we would win by at least 14 points, something like that. We ended up doing just about that, 2 scores. And the fashion in which we did it with Bo in there, he came in, played great. Drew was playing super efficient too. I think Drew was like 14 for 18 or something like that. And then Bo comes in and goes 11 for 13 and moves the football. The running backs made splash plays when they needed to, got creative with Tyler Warren, putting the ball in his hands as always. So like checked all the boxes. We were who we were on that side of the ball. Defensively came up, made splash plays when we needed to, was kind of quiet from a pass rush standpoint. But what I will say is we forced Wisconsin to get out of their game plan. Yeah. Like, in my opinion, I think they only rushed for like 81 yards, kept that Walker kid in check, who's I think a really good back. And then to Braden Locke's credit, like, I thought we had to turn the football over at least 2 or 3 times to win by 2 or 3 scores. We only turned him over once. It was a pick 6, obviously. But to his credit, for throwing it 42 times or whatever the hell he did, he took care of it pretty good for a young cat. So, that just goes back to me saying I think the defense won this game too in another unique way, a cool way, without it being like super splashy, but played sound, took advantage of opportunities. And ultimately, we're able to put our offense in positions to pull away with this thing. So, I feel really good with where we're at. Obviously, undefeated helps a lot. There's a 0 in the L column. That helps a ton. But just in terms of overall development, I don't think we've played a complete game yet. I don't think we've peaked yet.
No, we haven't.
So like, there's always that chasing aspect of that. So I think with this game this weekend, that's about all you could ask for. You know what I mean? Just hopefully we peak on Saturday at 12 o'clock.
Right. Yeah. Noon game. Not everyone's not too fond, but I think you said it exactly. Defense came up with timely stops. And I mean, that second half, I don't know what it is. We just come alive, up front, tackles for loss. We hadn't had one all game, and then all of a sudden they came in bunches. Tackle for loss, like you said, holding the Walker kid. And ultimately what you want to do is force a young quarterback to beat you. And that's exactly what we did. And when our front gets going, that's going to be tough for any quarterback to do. And I'm confident in our guys on the back end. We gave up some plays for sure. But they had some talent out there for sure. But at the end of the day, that's what we have to do. Just like the big dogs of any conference. Line up, been saying it for the past 2 years, challenge these guys, one-on-one coverage, and make plays when the ball's in the air, because I've been saying it also, I hate our zone defense. I mean, you've seen the Lock kid, he's able to pick it apart. I gotta try to find a PFF of where our zone coverage lies in the country, ranks in the country, because it cannot be too high, but I could be wrong, I don't know. But man coverage,
Let's talk about that a little bit. Like, why do you think that is, B? Like, put your whistle around your neck here, and let's dive into that, because I think that's a unique thing, and I think I can provide some perspective from the other side of the ball here. Like, what zone is, to me, right? Mm-hmm. This is just the stupid quarterback offensive guy, right? Like, zone is all about discipline and understanding.
Yep.
In my opinion, right? So like, what you're responsible for. On the flip side of it, like, I'm always trying to think of whatever type of zone coverage it is. I'm trying to put guys in binds, right? In cover 3, you got a curl flat defender. You can't be in 2 places at once. Yep. What's he going to do? Simplify a concept, make, see a lot type of thing. It's 3, zone in on the guys that you have to make a decision. And then ultimately that dictates where the football goes.
Yeah.
Quarter, same thing. You got a hook with eyes guy. They're carry the seam type of thing, whatever, like, same shit. The safeties have run responsibilities and pass responsibilities, same stuff. Like, those are the things that I try to always tried to look at. And the best zone players, or the best zone teams that I ever played, did a really good job of route recognition from the formation, if that makes sense, like pre-snap formation understanding, and then even the first 2 or 3 steps off the ball, like what's the stem, what does that usually dictate, and they're kind of shaving off options in real time as they see 2 or 3 things. But it's like really pattern recognition for me. Like why do you think we're not really polished at that?
I mean, exactly what you said from the offensive perspective is the same defensive. You have to, it's about awareness, you know. Like you said, you want to put guys in binds. And zone coverage is always going to be a hole. There's always going to be binds depending on, you know, the routes in front of it or behind it. And that's exactly what you have to understand as a zone defender in any position. You know, where are my weaknesses? Where are my strengths? Where's my help? Where is there no help? And where can I relate to the routes the best? And that's the part I think we're struggling with. We're just not relating to the routes in our zone coverage. Like I said, there's always going to be weaknesses, but you have to take away the worst option on our end, and then you got to rally and tackle. And that's the hard part in college. The biggest difference you see in the league in college, one in the NFL, there's a lot of match zone to where it's not just a spot drop. It's this guy comes in my vicinity within my zone, I'm latched on it. It's practically man now until he's 9, then you got to pass off, which can be it's high level defense, you know, and that's what I would love to see us graduate to. Now it's master's level of defense. So I get why most colleges don't quite get to that level. But without doing that, you got to have that awareness that we're talking about. You know, you got to give.
You were a savvy player, and like I feel like, and I'll just try to explain this in layman's terms here, but I feel like we're just playing it by the book. Like these guys open the iPads up, or if they still have old school playbook, I don't know, but whatever the hell it is, they're looking at it, and like your basic diagram of cover 2, like everybody's in that spot. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're kind of like just going, right?
Right.
I still think that there's a level of savviness to where, and again, like just speaking from experience playing against you at practice, like you guys still kind of knew like when to collision, how to collision, what that collision did to the route concept. Like if it's cover 2, you're the will linebacker, you're going to try to force the outside release as much as you could, and your corner subsequently is going to force the inside release as much as you could, so you shorten that distance if they are going vertical for your safety who has half the field, right? So it's all about just smaller understanding of the bigger picture. And I just feel like I don't know if that's quite super sharp. I just feel I
understand why it quite isn't, because we're a man team. I mean, you see it in the league. I had this is NFL. I had a top cornerback. I literally say, I hate playing zone. Like, just let me line up and lock up. And that's the type of team that we are. So when you're talking about that awareness of, okay, I got to reroute 2, I got to help the safety out. He's splitting the difference between, the numbers and the corner. I'm not sure if that can be retained as much when we're probably more locked in on our man coverage. And also the pass rush. Pass rush in any coverage helps out a lot. And we've been talking about it throughout the year. That hasn't quite been the production that we've been accustomed to where, hey, you can drop to a spot, but the quarterback has 3 seconds max because we got guys hot coming off the edges up the middle. So
but that's a great point though too, B, is as much as the pass rush helps the back end, I could make the argument that disruption and timing from the back end can also help pass rush.
Very true.
So I think in my eyes here, what I've watered this down to is maybe we should start playing a little more match zone.
I mean, that's the only solution. That's literally the only solution. I mean, it's hard to, if you haven't been, repping it since camp, it's not going to thing you throw in during the season, but moving forward.
You're talking like the old Seattle Seahawks when they had Sherman, Chancellor, and them, and they were basically playing like 3 carry the whole game.
The whole game.
They could do with it what they wanted, and they had Wagner in the middle just running around, fucking causing havoc. Like, yeah,
because force a quarterback to make that seam throw with safety. Different time with that Legion of Boom, but heat-seeking missiles from every angle. Yeah. You catch that ball, it's at your own risk. But I don't like to harp on it too much, but that's the weakness that I see where we've been constantly exploded by every quarterback every week. And it's not to take away from the quarterbacks, because I think quarterback play is a lot better than across the board.
Yeah.
From when we were playing, for sure.
Fair statement. Yeah, very fair statement. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of kids. I think he'll be a good QB. He's young, and kind of going to our pass rush, we haven't quite got there, but you saw it sped up the young kids' timing. We're still affecting the timing of quarterbacks. Not too many are going to sit in there and let it loose. I will say that. So, like you said, we're peaking. Hopefully it's at the right time come noon this upcoming Saturday. But defensively, as always, still timely plays, man. And I think, that's a great transition to our Ziebart defensive play of the week, man. When we needed it most, the young Jalen Reed showed his face again. Detroit native, man. Let's get into it.
Yeah, Jay Reed. This guy's I think he's won this 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah.
So our guy Jay Reed here, run,
you see him.
rip, go.
You see him, number 1 right there, kind of in the back of position. This is what I'm talking about. We're matched up across the board. You can't quite see. We don't have the all 22, but you're matched up across the board. You got Jay Reed being a robber. This is one robber, what you call it. It's just pretty much a sneaky guy, dropping in the middle of coverage, really just reading the QB's eyes. Wherever he can help out, robbing a route is what the context of it. And that's exactly what it does. The young kid stares down the tight end. Our defense has outside leverage. Jay Reed sitting inside, ready to rob, and it's picture perfect. That's textbook one robber defense. And that's what I'm talking about. We just challenge guys. That's the defense we have to be. And these are the plays that constantly come from it.
Yeah, I love it. And you're right. Just technique. They seem much more comfortable. And he finishes the deal too, which I love.
Yeah, which is big.
Finishes the deal. Friggin' gets it in the end zone, scores it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, just even technique. They funneled everything back into him there. Outside leverage. Yeah, it's a quarterback's worst nightmare. And like you said, with the rush too, being able to affect it, you can't really see those lanes as much. Everything gets a little bit tighter. But
had everyone standing up there too, up front. A lot of people not quite fond of that, but it causes confusion for protection. Yeah, and as you said, that split second of not having enough time, forcing that ball out, doesn't see the robber, Jay Reed, Ziebart.
That a boy. Yeah, Ziebart. Make sure you guys are always checking Ziebart out whenever you have a need for your vehicle, whether it's protection, cleaning, so forth and so on. Make sure you guys are taking care of one of your biggest investments, and Ziebart can help you out with that. So they are a great friend of the pocket and state media as a whole, as I said earlier. And another one down. And Jay Reed, again, another crown for him. We should keep a ticker of that. But he's a hell of a football player, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on a little rant here now just because of that. I think he's been probably the most impactful player on our defense, top to bottom.
Yeah. And
it's been in such a unique way, too, because when KJ goes down, I think everybody was looking around for, who's going to replace that production. And he was really settling in kind of in what they wanted him to be within that defense. And they've asked him now to play more in the box and then also on the back end and cover a little bit more. He's having to they're putting a lot on his plate and he is just eating it. He's gobbling it up and he's not complaining. He gets got every once in a while, but I guarantee you that sumbitch is competitive as hell, and he lines right the fuck back up the next series and gets right after it again. Doesn't lose a step, doesn't lose an ounce of confidence. He flies around like a fucking missile, dude, and he's really fun to watch. He's a fucking heat-seeking missile. So
I love it.
I got to give him a lot of flowers. Him and Zane Durant for me on defense have been the two most impactful players. People are starting to talk about them more now, but they've been fantastic up until this point.
Definitely fun to watch, man. Both those guys.
Good stuff. All right, here it is. This is wide open because I am gonna get to this now. We dropped the mailbag. What the fuck, guys? I mean, we've filled it up in the past, and now I'm sitting here, no mailbag. B drops a good one. It's a shame. Maybe that's on us. Maybe it's the late game. Maybe we expected everything and everyone has all the answers, and that's cool too. Fuck us for thinking that we could provide any more insight into this. That's on us. That's our bad.
Yeah, but always on us.
But because we have a lack of a mailbag, you guys are about to get the nitty gritty with Ohio State, and I I teased it a little bit with this Nebraska and Indiana talk earlier, but I think that Nebraska game really opened my eyes because it's been a slow matriculation since that Oregon game with Ohio State about, maybe there is some things that we can take advantage of. And then they're also dealing with the injury bug. I think they got 3 offensive linemen out, haven't really been able to run the football at an efficient clip. Their defense has really struggled to stop the run. Kind of playing right into our hands here. What do you got, B?
Listen, man, I love everything you're saying. I'm going to keep my thoughts reserved, until we line up and play. But no, that definitely plays into our hand. I mean, I'm on the same clip. Our offensive line and the run game hasn't quite been produced in the last few weeks as we would like to see. So this would be a great opportunity to kind of, ground and pound, take control of this game. The talk's always been about explosives, which we will need and we will have to have. But, about control, man. Keep control of the game. Efficient clip. Everyone's going to say, Ohio State's down. We need to steamroll them. But as you've kind of said, that's not necessarily been our MO, at least coming out the gate. But still, relying on our backs and the QB, whoever's out there, to make plays on the ground and timely plays in the air. And we still have to win on the outside, too. Have to win on the outside.
Smith kid's a stud.
Yeah. He is. And I hate to give them credit more than we have to, but and then protecting the quarterback when those times do arrive. They still got some athletes out there on the edge, and at the end of the day, in Happy Valley, you saw Howard. Those boys are going to be teed up. They're going to be teed up, trying to scratch and claw to get every inch, and that's what we're going to have to do defensively. We're going to have to hit this kid, man. He wants to run it. Let's do it. We're going to have to make him pay every single time. Get after him when he drops back. And kind of wear them down. That's what we have to do this game. We have to wear Ohio State down, which, some may say, is that, they're the big dogs. Is that possible? Hell yeah, it's possible. That's the way we grind this game out. Top to bottom, run down this O-line, this D-line, wear them out, and then pull away at the end like we just saw against Wisconsin.
So you think that's our blueprint? You think we even have to take that into these types of games?
I think so. At first I would think, watching Ohio State beginning of the year, it's, these guys are explosive. And they still are. Don't get it twisted. And it could very much turn into that. But I think it's more, we don't have to play that game. Maybe with an Oregon, maybe per se, but we don't have to play that game of going blow for blow. We got to wear these guys out. They'll make their plays, as Wisconsin did, as USC did. But we got to keep chipping. And I think we'll like where we're at come, bottom of the fourth.
Listen, I think the onus definitely falls. I think we are going to have to go blow for blow with them. And this is why Ohio State always scares me, because the one thing that I give them a ton of credit for, having played against them from Urban to Day now, I think that they're and I have I know Joshua Perry really well. Yeah. I've talked to him at length about this, both on air and offline, just the respect I have for how they run that program. And they've been in a lot of dogfights, and they've lost some big games, but they've played over the course of 15 years, national championships, Big Ten championships, big bowl games, playoff games. They've experienced the whole spectrum, and I don't think they've had a recruiting class not play for some type of championship at some point in time in their tenure there for a really long time. With that kind of comes, I think, an edge heading into any matchup like this with a program like Penn State that has tasted these things, but it's spread out more, right? They taste it. And that's why I kind of want to peel this back and do the weave here of bringing it back to this USC game where having that experience before a matchup like this, and then also the Wisconsin game, having to overcome now, I can add that into the data set. Both of those wins in the manner with the adversity and so forth and so on in which we won those games, I think it's a smaller sample size, which is still scary. It's a smaller sample size. And I painted the picture of Ohio State. This has been 10, 15 years now. but smaller sample size. But I think that's going to bode well for us heading into this. And I don't think Ohio State's feeling really great about themselves with the way that Nebraska game. I know Ryan Day talked about it. They tried to. They're banged up. It's just, for me, I think you have to make a statement early.
Yeah.
If you want to, and I know I said I'm out on us being a start fast team, but you have to make a statement early in a game like this if you really want it to be one of those things where you're like, oh shit, they're pulling away. I think if Penn State can make a statement early here, kind of get Ohio State on their heels. I don't know if Ohio State's built to run back in other than trying to feed the ball to Smith. Point blank period. I mean, I think that kid is an absolute game changer. He's a generational type of talent, similar to Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's really, really fucking good. And it's going to be really hard for anybody to play for 4 quarters with him without him making some type of explosive play. And it'd be dumb for Ohio State not to try to feed him the ball if they're in that situation. But I really do think efficiency, like you said, in the run game over explosivity. I think you need to be efficient. I think you need to possess the football. You need to limit the amount of times that they touch it. That's a great thing to focus on. But scoring, finishing drives with touchdowns, not field goals. And sincerely, and I'm not even going to say start fast, but be intentional from the first snap. Be intentional with how you call the game, be intentional with the shots you take, be intentional with the manner in which you go about your business from the first snap, because any drop off against a program like this can put you in a bad situation. And I've experienced it. I've had them on the ropes. They've been beating the shit out of us. I've gotten blown out by them.
Yep.
And then they've been beating the shit out of us, and then we come back and take it to 2 overtimes. I've experienced a spectrum with this program, and that's why I have so much respect for the way that they play the game. And it's like I said, it's weird. It's not a player thing. It's a program thing. It's a development thing, foundational thing. So that's the only thing that always scares me with these guys is I feel like the standard's slightly different, and it's not Coach Franklin's fault. It's just because of experiences, right? Yeah. They've earned and have the right to carry with them throughout their resume. But it's just, like I said, I think it comes down to that a little bit.
No, I completely understand what you're saying. In my eyes, I see it as this is the type of, no matter what you believe, they're down a year, they don't have this guy, this type of talent maybe a year. They're the type of team that like the Sharks you kind of spoke about a couple episodes ago. There's blood in the water. You best believe this squad is going to fucking hunt you down and take that opportunity. So that's where it's we can't give those opportunities. And if we do, we can't miss a beat. You got to get back up and, like you're saying, kind of go on blow for blow type of deal. So I completely understand that. We can't have the drops. We can't have the pre-snap penalties. We can't have the fumble mix-ups, the snap mix-ups. We can't give that, because you give them an inch, they will capitalize. You know that for a fact. Like what you're saying, based off their history, their tenure, the type of standard, whatever you want to call it. These guys are Sharks no matter who's at the helm. That's the type of squad they are, and that's why they've been where they've been. And, hey, it's no secret. These are the top dogs. We've been, trying to eclipse the past, decade. Keep it a decade or longer. Like you said, we've been blown out. We've been in dogfights. We've been, we've beaten them. It's taken every ounce and every play to beat them, and that's exactly why, because they're the Sharks that you gotta, they can take a blow. You got to keep stabbing them, harpooning them, and that's what I think we have to do. Just keep coming.
Yeah, you really need to see triple zeros with these guys. You got to see it through. What do you think about the potential with Bo and Drew? I know I watched the hit. I don't think – I could be wrong. I don't want to go out on a limb here, but – I don't think Drew's injury is off the charts crazy. Mm-hmm. What do you think? That's a fair guesstimate?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to judge, like you said. I don't think so either. I mean, it's good to see him walk off on his own power, but clearly he knew something wasn't right. You saw that next throw, wasn't able to quite get it there the way he'd like to. And I hope, God hope that he will be okay. And it's still going to be a thing where, hey, can he get those practice reps that he's going to need, like we said, for these Sharks? They're going to have to see it pretty fast and everything like that. Yeah, it's hard to speculate on the type of injury. But, even if he is able to play, he's not the runner, but we've seen him. He's going to have to be able to move, put it that way.
How do you think it plays out? Do you think it's maybe a little bit more of Bo in the mix, which is funny that I'm the one bringing that up after some statements I've made, but do you think maybe it is a little more Bo in the mix, or how do you think this plays out? And then do you think it plays into our hands more, or do you think it plays into Ohio State's hands more with kind of the uncertainty of having a guy?
Oh, man, I think it definitely plays into our hands more. Now it's just going to come down to, efficiency, like we're saying. If it is more Bo, which I'm not, opposed to, and the same thing, I've been right with you making the statements about, the guys splitting reps and whatnot. But, yeah. I mean, clearly it's different from the past years of, anytime the number 2 quarterback has came in the last, 6 years, we've kind of lost hope and held our breath and things of that nature. So it's clearly not that. This game just solidified it more on Bo and being capable and confident to go out there. Obviously, Drew is the number 1 guy, and it's, if he's able to go, he's going to go. So with that being said, I guess we probably have to see a heavier dose of Bo. And like I said, that goes in our benefit because it's not just, hey, this kid's going to come in and run the rock. He's going to come in and run the offense. Just as elevated as Drew would be able to. So it's a lot to account for, man. The kid can also throw it, and it seems like he can see it. The plays are teed up perfectly for him. And at the end of the day, if we're running the ball and we're able to, establish dominance on the offensive line like we're saying we should be able to, we have to, I'm confident either one of these guys kind of going out there and getting the job done. We're just going to have to keep, like I said, keep swinging no matter who's back there.
I like it. What do you think is the most important thing heading into this game for us to win it? We covered a lot there early, a lot of things all over the map. I might say something that I already said again with mine, but I really want to hammer a few things home here. What's the dictating factor here? We talked about the injuries. We talked about the matchup. We talked about where it plays into the advantage of things and where it doesn't, But realistically speaking, you and I both know this type of game is
I mean, it's gonna after everything we've said, and we can go a lot of different directions, but keeping it simple as football is, it's gonna come down to the trenches, as you said, offensively and defensively. They've got weapons for sure, and that kid and those kids are gonna make plays. I'm not gonna sit here and say we're gonna shut these guys out. But ultimately in the trenches. What we were saying about Wisconsin, getting the lock kid uncomfortable, going to have to be the same thing with Howard. Getting him uncomfortable, stopping the run first and foremost. That includes him. And then when he's dropping back, it's getting him uncomfortable. He's going to try to get it to his weapons, but making a slightly errant throw, sacks obviously. And we got to hit this kid. He's a big sucker. He's going to fall forward when he runs. We have to make him feel us all game. And then offensively is, like we said, establishing that run and consistently running the ball at a good clip all game. And like I said, wearing this defensive line down, their DBs are pretty elite, not going to lie. Will we be able to make plays on them 100%? But ultimately, I think we're able to run the ball. I like our chances a little bit better on the outside.
I like it. So you're in the trenches.
I got to go in the trenches, man. Starts up front, ends up front.
Yeah. Don't disagree with that. It's a simple game, brother. But my thing is here, I think the team that's better between the ears, and that's why I said being intentional, who's the most focused team, who's the team that settles in quickest with what they're doing, how they're doing it, with the intentionality that they need. Yeah. That's truly where I think this game's going to be decided. Who has the best mindset and who carries that mindset through the ups and downs and the peaks and valleys of this football game.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I think it's going to be really interesting to see who's pulling the trigger. It's going to be really interesting to see how the game dictates the way the game's got to be called. It's going to be really interesting to see how we come out on both sides of the ball, because I think a fast start would be attention to detail for me from the first snap.
Yeah, that's what we've been saying all
season. To your
season.
point, like if they beat us, they beat us, right? If it results in 21 points or 3 points, I don't care. I think our team, if we're intentional about what we do and there's a focus, and I can't even figure out the words, but if there's a laser focus coming out from the beginning, like I would dictate that as a fast start. Like no MEs, no stupid blown things. Like if you get got, you get got. But I feel like, to your point, the way that this team's built, like there's not many teams that are just going to flat out get us snap after snap after snap. So the ability to just not lose focus there after that and give up something stupid, I think is going to dictate this football game. If we can be locked in from pregame warmups till you shower up and walk out of that stadium after your press conferences, seriously that long, prepared mentally to do that, I think we got a really good chance because of all the other factors, the actual X's and O's and matchup factors we talked about. But to me, it's an intentionality and a belief in what you can do and not being scared and just throw empty the fucking tank. Like throw the haymakers, empty the fucking tank. If you empty the tank with a laser focus, like I said, a lot of things from a matchup standpoint are in my opinion, pointing in the right direction for us.
Yeah, and that line you just said, empty the clip, empty the tank. That's where I get my confidence in Coach K, is what I said earlier, because I believe he will do just that. You know, where in the last few years we haven't quite seen that from the OC, and it reflects on the players and the confidence, things of that nature. So.
We talked about it. We talked about it after the Michigan game last year. It was just like, fuck.
Come on, man. Yeah. This is the biggest game of the season. Let's go. There's no tomorrow. Ultimately.
Yeah, you're playing. You're like they played not to lose. Like Penn State cannot play not to lose.
Yeah. We got to go out there, man. Pounce on them. Let us swing, man. Let us swing. And I think I will like where we're at, bottom of the fourth, like you said, and then continue that locked inness until. You know, you get your little pizza, whatever they get after the game, and you walk home.
Yeah. Man, I'm excited to be up there.
Yeah, I should be up there too, my brother. It'll be a good time.
Yep.
I know everyone hates the noon games, as you know, as slightly older with some young kids. I don't quite mind getting up there, getting home not too late.
I'm with you, my boy. I am with you.
The whiteout magic is definitely a real thing, though. So I mean, I get it. Would love to have seen that in this magnitude of a game, but nonetheless, still biggest game of the year, college game day. Herb Street's pumped as he always is to come into Happy Valley. So it should be a great one.
Love it. All right, folks, you'll see B and I both up there this week. Make sure you grab us if you see us. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully, this gives you a really good baseline heading into the week. But I would say this, start early, get your fill. Don't come into that stadium thirsty. Be loud. Let's make it impact. And we'll catch y'all next week. Oh, and by the way, hit the mailbag. Hit the mailbag for us. Just give us something.
We'll get it out sooner this week.
Obviously we'll get it out sooner this week. We got our noon kick. It's coming out quicker. But hit the mailbag for us. We want to help us help you.
Come on now.
All right. As always, appreciate you guys listening. Follow us on all our socials, and we will be back next week.